Okay, good morning outreach as well. We're going to talk about leadership today. What is that? That's a really hard thing for people to teach or talk about because it's so nebulous. But guess what? It's probably the most important thing on whether you'll be successful or not successful. Okay, I'm telling you this from experience. If you have leadership qualities or skills or you can hone them, that will make a difference in how much you make in your career, without question. So it's an interesting subject, but it's not a science, that's for sure. So let me ask comments. How many people raise your hand if you think, I think I'm a pretty good leader? We got a few. Okay, and some of you, I kind of know who raised your hand. You do some things around leadership, student groups and that kind of thing. And the surprising thing is that most people can be great leaders, but they think leadership in terms of management, leading a group of people, but it's not necessarily the case. It's really the ability for people to influence others is critical to it. And so what are those skills that allow you to do it? So just some comments from you. What do you think some of the qualities or attributes of a leader are? Anybody? Yes? Being able to delegate. I'm really good at that, aren't I, Ollie? Okay. Say that louder. I've got one ear's decorative, the other one. Yes, be consistent. Anything else? Yes. Yes, that's a good one. Yes, others. Knowing how to serve. Yes. Probably integrity is important. I mean, when I go through these slides, some of the things I found on leadership, some of the comments, they almost discount personal characteristics quite a bit. It's odd, because we all know that it's part of your personal characteristics. I think integrity is critically important because people have to trust you. They don't trust you, and they can see, because if you're working with a group of people and you're leading people and they can see that you don't have integrity, you start losing your following. You start losing people's ability to follow. I really think, and I'm going to talk about this, two things that are very, very important to me. I've thought about this an awful lot, and I kind of thought about it around Toyota's respect for people. I wasn't necessarily the most respectful person when I was in industry, and I really learned a lot about this and researched it quite a bit. I was respectful, but I didn't really get that like I probably should have. But then I thought about, how do you be respectful then? Because there's so many people that aren't really respectful, but they pretend to be. So they say the right things to people because they should. They treat them with respect because they're supposed to, but they don't genuinely respect people. And the funny thing about humans, they detect that very easily. They know that it's phony. Stepchildren know it's phony, right? When the step-parent pretends like they love them, but they really don't. People detect that. So the respect has to be genuine, very genuine. Now, what really, in my opinion, what allows you to respect people? Now, this is becoming like a church service. Humility. In my opinion, you must be a humble person. If you're not a humble person, I don't know that you have the ability to respect. If you can't respect, I don't know that you have the ability to lead. Just my opinion. No science behind it, but. So, here's some things what leadership is not. This is a contributing writer for Forbes magazine. Leadership has nothing to do with seniority or one's position in the hierarchy of the company. This isn't about what my position is. Leadership has nothing to do with titles. You don't need a title to lead. You can be a leader in your place of worship, your neighborhood, your family, without having a title. Leadership has nothing to do with personal attributes. This is the one that I kind of had a little bit of trouble with myself. Say the word leader, most people think of domineering, take charge, charismatic individuals. Those with charisma don't automatically lead. But personal attributes, personally, I think integrity and respect and humility are personal attributes, and I think they're very important. Leadership isn't management. Typically, managers manage things, leaders lead people. Two different things completely. How some of the most respected business thinkers define leadership. Peter Drucker. Has anybody heard of Peter Drucker? I don't know about now, but in management schools, he's a philosopher of management that's highly regarded. The only definition of a leader is someone who has followers. So this writer says, really, this instance of tautology is so simplistic as to be dangerous. A new army captain is put in command of 200 soldiers. He never leaves his room or utters a word to the men or the women in his unit. Perhaps routine orders are given to a subordinate. By default, his troops have to follow orders. Is the captain really a leader? Commander, yes. Leader, no. Drucker is, of course, a brilliant thinker of modern business, but this definition is too simple. So Drucker's wrong about leadership. Warren Bennis, leadership is the capacity to translate vision into reality. Every spring you have a vision for a garden with lots of work, with carrots, tomatoes becoming reality. Are you a leader? No, you're a gardener. Bennis' definition seems to have forgotten others. So my point here is, see how difficult this topic is for people? These are great thinkers and they're missing it. Bill Gates, as we look ahead into the next century, leaders will be those who empower others. This definition includes others, and empowerment is a good thing, but to what end? I've seen many empowered others in my life, from rioting hooligans to Google workers who were so misaligned with the rest of the company they found themselves unemployed. Gates' definition lacks the parts about goal and vision. Right? So Maxwell, if I can read that, leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. I like minimalism, but this reduction is too much. A robber with a gun has influence over his victim. A manager has power to fire a team member, which provides a lot of influence. But does this influence make a robber or a manager a leader? Maxwell's definition omits the source of influence. They have power, position power in the organization. I can fire people, but I can't influence or lead them. So what is leadership? Leadership is a process of social influence which maximizes the efforts of others towards the achievement of a goal. And later we'll talk about goal. Goals probably shouldn't be there. It should probably be more about vision, why we do what we do. You remember policy deployment? We talked about who should we be in 5 years, what's our vision, why are we here? It should probably be a little broader than goal to me, because goal doesn't necessarily motivate people, but vision does. Leadership stems from social influence, not authority or power. Leadership requires others. That implies they don't need to be direct reports. Can be anybody. No mention of personality traits or attributes or even title. There are many styles, many paths to effective leadership. It includes a vision. I included this. I took the liberty. Not influence with no clear direction. Lastly, what makes this definition so different from many of the academic definitions out there is the inclusion of maximizes the efforts. You get something of value from the organization that you're pulling your way, that you're leading, who are following.